ठीक है. Okay, thanks, Purendra, for having me in the course. The history for the ICL is about 30 years old. That's when the first ICL was implanted, and I have been actually the first phakic lens that I implanted was a PRL. That's a PRL, that's a phakic by SIBA. That's since been withdrawn from the market because there were reports of it cutting through the zonule and going into the vitreous. But this ICL, I've been 1999 was the first ICL that I implanted. As Partha left, is he put in the implant. The post-op management is steroids and antibiotic drops, and also to lower the intraocular pressure. In the immediate post-operative period, these are the things that have to be evaluated. What is the visual acuity of the patient? I don't promise or say anything to the patient, but since we are dealing mostly with high myopes, and because of the elimination of the minification factor of the glasses, they normally tend to gain one line of vision. So if you're doing a minus 14 or a minus 16, so if the BCVA with glasses is 6-9 parts or something, so he or she may end up with 6-6, and that's something like a bonus which you have. Slit lamp examination is obviously important to rule out any corneal inflammation. IOP pressure, vault measurement is something important. The preferable vault is about 350 to 700, so that's the preferable vault, but patients can survive without getting cataracts or pressure problems, even if the vault is maybe more or less than this. The ICL centration and positioning is important. If you get a cross cylinder, or if you get a mixed astigmatism, that means that if you're on the AR, you're getting a plus or a minus, understand that that means that the cylinder is not in the proper axis, and you need to dilate the patient and look at the positioning of the implant. So this is just to show you a good vault. You can compare it with the thickness of the cornea and see as to where it is, and this is post-operatively. You can see this is where the cylinder should be, and this is what you can see there. Now the complications or the problems that you can have is that pre-operative there could be an incorrect workup, and therefore the size or the power could be different from what you wanted. Intraoperative, I'll just show you that you could be actually implanting the ICL upside down, and that's going to be disastrous. Post-operatively, incorrect axis of placement, cataract formation or glaucoma can happen early. Low vault, early cataract formation, and toric ICL rotation. That means that if the lens is small, it will tend to rotate. Now, this is classically before we had the V4. The hole has another specific purpose, that you can use it to aspirate out the viscoelastic. Use that to aspirate or flow out the viscoelastic from the center. This is a typical cataract that develops very, very early if you are leaving behind viscoelastic in just below the lens, because it's very difficult to go below the lens and aspirate it out. So therefore, you use the hole for pushing fluid so that the central portion is clear, or using it to aspirate. This is a case of cataract. You can see we are using a femtolaser to kind of take out. So you can see the vault is good. This is the pupil. The problem here is that the pupil is the optic zone is taken up as the pupil. So therefore, you have to enlarge the pupil. And once you have enlarged the pupil, you get an excellent capsulotomy with this. So you can see here that there is an excellent capsulotomy that you have. I think this is one of the least of the problems or the complications, because doing a cataract surgery, IOL power calculation is not an issue, because the lens is very thin and you don't have to put any formulas, and you can take out the cataract pretty easily. So this is just to show you that the lens can be pulled out from the same incision. You don't have a hand over hand technique is what is required. Now this is a case came to me, had been operated somewhere in the NCR, and the ICL was kind of subluxated. Patient was not getting good vision, and you can see in this particular case, the lens is, can you see this? It's, and the doctor had redialed, and there was also this cataract formation which was there. So you can see I did the OCT, the vault is pretty good. He had used a 13 millimeter lens, but despite that, according to me, it should have been 12.6, but despite that, I couldn't find anything on the OCT. The UBM also didn't. So these are surprises. This is one of the surprises I have seen in my career, that despite the size being all right, the lens was getting decentered. So this guy was terrible. I'm sure he'll go to the consumer court the way he was talking. But I told him everything is good. There is no reason I can find out as to why this has happened. But there is no other way that you can do in this particular case. But if it is there in the early, redialing has been done early, this thing, you have to just pull it out. And ICL is much easier to pull out than the Indian lenses, because the material is different, but you still use a hand over hand technique and you can pull it out. So you'll have to get this down now. This patient is phakic. I will do a partial reduction of his power by doing a LASIK on top of it. Early post-op period, you can see that this is where on the Varion, this is the ICL where it is, and this is where it should be. So you can go back and actually redial. You don't have to put viscoelastic below. You can actually have two cannulas, and you can go ahead and redial. Raised IOP post ICL, the rate has been reported to be 0.8 to 26.2. So you have to actually look at all these things, and prevention is better. So in prevention, washing the viscoelastic is the key. Do not leave behind viscoelastic. That is the key. And do not overinflate the entire eye so that it's very tense, but it should be proper. The pressure should be proper at the end. Factors that predispose the eye to high IOP is the position of the ICL in the ciliary sulcus. If there is a lot of manipulation, you can have a lot of pigment dispersal, and this pigment dispersal can actually cause increase in the intraocular pressure. Vaulting has to be proper, and all these eyes with high myopia, as it is, you can know that they are at a risk of steroid-induced glaucoma. Pupillary block glaucoma does not happen nowadays to that extent, or it does not because there is a central hole which is 300 microns. Otherwise, a prophylactic peripheral iridotomy, whether by a laser or a surgical iridotomy, is required. Now, this you can see the pressure would be very high. This is an OCT image. This is an inverted ICL. So if you are putting it upside down, you guys can make it out. So this is a lens which has been put upside down. The surgeon should have known at the time, because the markers of the holes should be right leading, as he was saying in the ICL. Each individual lens has its own markings. So please be careful. Sometimes it can be left leading, sometimes right leading. So which lens you are using, accordingly you should have a marking. And the OCT will clearly show you why the pressure is raised. Now this is intraoperative. I'm just showing you. The problem here is the ICL is going in pretty well. And as you see, you are sticking a little bit of it here. So what happens is that watch the front. Do not go below the iris, because you can have a manipulation. This is something that you could see that the lens was going to open the other way around. So you have just manipulated it and put it back. So that is important. When the lens is opening, either you pull out the lens, or at that particular time put in viscoelastic, or you try to avert it at that. Otherwise, even if it opens, otherwise you have to pull it out. Retained viscoelastic, AC overfill, pigment dispersal, these are something important. Pre-existing juvenile open-angle glaucoma, sometimes there could be very rarely a malignant glaucoma has been described. Steroid response is different, and you have to give anti-glaucoma. Now this is typically the OCT that you can see. This is about 859 volt. So this is a high volt that is there. Normally when there is a high volt, I don't mind waiting for some time. It tends to settle down and the pressure does not increase. So just watch this patient very carefully for pressure. Apart from that, a high volt, even at 1000 at times, doesn't cause much of a problem. So friends, these are some of the things that you have to note in the immediate post-op or during the surgical period. And post-op as regards cataract, removing the cataract is not a very difficult thing. Overall, I would rather go in to have a cataract rather than an ectasia. So it's much easier to treat a cataract rather than treating an ectasia. So as Partha was saying, when we started the laser, I have treated up to -18 with my Summit laser. It was a broad beam laser. You must have also treated higher. So Ram, so the early...
My mother-in-law is -13.5.
Great. So the patient is still doing well, the minus 18 patient. So, but the point is that since these are better techniques that are available, and all of you can do even if you don't have an excimer laser or you don't have a Kalex machine. So that's something important, and I think in Germany legally you can't do more than -8 ablation. For an excimer laser, what we normally keep is about -8 to -10 is what we are keeping, and that's the thing that we have. You have the Viva now. Indian lenses are also giving. That is a presbyopic kind of a lens that is available, so you can look at that. So this is my procedure of choice for high powers. Also, when corneas are thin or formifustae or certain other things, keratoconus patients, after cross-linking with stability in the cornea, if they are improving with glasses, you can go ahead and put an ICL. And newer models will increase the surgical ease and reduce the cost to the patient. So that's all that I have to say. Thank you very much for your kind listening. Thank you.